All right, House of Payne fans. Now, I'm only kind of going based on the preview here for this week's House of Payne episode. So, if this video comes out before Wednesday night, which honestly I think it should, and then the episode comes on Wednesday and it debunks what I'm about to say, just keep in mind I'm only going off the preview itself. So make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Let's try to get to 40 likes. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out when I post new content. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. What we want to do here is talk about Carden saying that he might move back in with his parents, which honestly makes no sense if you ask me, because number one, let's just go over some things we learned in episode 6, I believe, last week. Carden is making $128,000 a year. He got the condo. I believe I think Miranda said he can keep the condo. I think that's what she said. I got to go back and rewatch it. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, that's right. He keeps the condo, or yeah, I think it was the condo. I forgot. I honestly think that Miranda said Carden gets to keep the condo. He was only offering $1,000 a month in child support, but let's just talk about this. Somebody brought up a good point. Well, excuse me, many people brought up, and I couldn't think of the name in the last video I did about disowning Miranda, so my bad. Tracy and Carden Jr. My bad. We don't know how much child support Carden is paying Tracy, and then the condo cost if he's only keeping it for himself. That honestly leads to a bunch of things we don't know. Hopefully we find out in this upcoming episode. Are Carden and Miranda still living together in the condo with with Christian, or are they in like separate living arrangements? I'm very confused considering their divorce has been going on for a while apparently. As CJ Joe, too many people in this family's name begins with a C. As CJ Joe, getting a divorce is taking him longer than the time they were married. So it just leads to a lot of questions, because I'm no expert in this, but when you're getting a divorce from somebody, I know there's a lot of tension. So how in the world could you stand to be under the same roof? Interesting. So, okay, if he's making $128K and he wants to move back home, then all I know is when he got back from court with CJ, apparently things did not go well. So does that mean that Miranda won out to get more than $1,000 per month? Or was Carden just frustrated because, once again, it was just a long, stressful day in court? So, with him making that much money, and again, we don't know how much child support he's giving Tracy, wouldn't Carden, I guess you could say, get another spot that's like just get an apartment or something, anything that's less expensive than a condo that's obviously big enough for more than one person? Because remember, I didn't watch every House of Payne episode, so I feel like, if memory serves, the condo was pretty spacious. I know that Curtis was joking about it, but it was pretty big from what I remember. I think Miranda had a surprise where she even made like a home office for Carden, and it was pretty spacious if you ask me. But in any case, it's like, I get if Carden's like, hey, mom, pops, can I stay with you all for a little while until I get an apartment? That's one thing versus, I'll just move back in with y'all. If you ask me, and again, I'm just kind of speculating here, maybe Tyler didn't build or rebuild the set for the original condo that Miranda and Carden had. So as a result, he's going to put Carden back in his parents' house to reduce the, I guess you could say, locations that they would need to film. And keep in mind, this is all on the Tyler Perry studio lot, but I'm just, trying to speak from a place of, what's the correct term? Cost cutting measurements, or I guess that's the word, cost cutting measures. So instead of rebuilding the condo, to be honest, to make it even easier, there is supposed to be a 5-year time jump. Couldn't they have just said something along the lines of they went to a new condo? But then again, that wouldn't make a lot of sense if Miranda walked out on Carden at the end of season 8. So why in the world would those two get a new place together? Or you could just say there have been renovations in their condo. I don't know, but I guess that's the only thing that I can think of that would make any kind of shred of sense, that Tyler would just have Calvin move back into his parents' house, because at this point the only locations that we've seen the cast in is CJ and Janine's place, Curtis and Ella's place, and now we're about to see like the backyard. We've seen them standing outside the front door. Allegedly, we're going to see the fire department crew again, because again, look at the Paynes. What did we see in the Paynes? We saw the basement, or like children's room, or the shelter for the homeless or the needy at the church. So we got that one room there, and remember that one room got shifted around. Like 1 minute is like for the children, then the next minute is for like the shelter, and then okay, so that's one location. We had Curtis and Ella's house in the inside and the outside of the house, and then we also had the laundromat. So if memories, and I could be remembering incorrectly, but I think we only had 3 set locations for that show: the house, the laundromat, and the church. And then when you look at a show like House of Payne, what do we have now? CJ and Janine, and then Ella and Curtis's house. So I guess the fire department could be the 3rd location. Assisted living, again, I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so I guess they're still in the same rundown retirement home. That's pretty much it. And let's see, Young Dylan, I've only watched a few episodes, and I know it's a pretty decent show compared to I'm not going to sit up here and say it's the best Tyler show, but it's a lot better than I expected, and I can stomach that show a lot better than what I'm seeing on House of Payne and Assisted Living. But if memory serves, on Young Dylan, you got the school, you got Young Dylan's aunt and uncle's house, and that's all I remember. I mean, from the episodes I saw, those are the only 2 locations. So pretty much it's like Calvin could probably just move into his parents' house again. I think that's pretty ridiculous. Like, if I was making 6 figures, it's one thing to move back in when you're helping your folks, but to just move in because of a failed marriage, well, then again, this sounds a lot judgmental, because I know everybody has different situations, but it just seems like, and again, I don't want to rag on the show, because honestly, I do feel like House of Payne last week, well, at least in episode 6, it did seem like the show was getting better, but I just feel like Tyler, he made a mistake here. What I mean by this is, allegedly it was a 5-year, again, 5 to 8 year, because different sources say different things, a 5 to 8 year time skip. And we're supposed to see these people years later. Because again, to have Malik still in college, to have Calvin and Miranda still going through the divorce, it just doesn't seem right. I feel like Tyler, originally when he inserted the time skip to explain why, certain characters look older, he was going to have these characters facing new challenges. But the thing is, some of these characters are in new challenges, but the problem is, here's the thing about the show. Tyler wanted to have the characters older and facing new challenges, but the problem is they're facing and dealing with the challenges the way they would have back in season 8, at the age they were in season 8. So it's almost like, even though you aged up their problems, you didn't age up the characters in terms of their mentality. I feel like that's one of the biggest setbacks of this season 9. And no, it's not just the pacing and whatnot. I'm not even really talking about that. I'm talking about the writing of these characters. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that's holding this show back right now. So again, if I'm completely wrong, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I am, because I only am going off the one line of dialogue from the trailer where Calvin's like, I'll just move in back here. That's like a defeatist attitude. So who knows, maybe that conversation with Miranda goes well. I mean, obviously they're not getting back together based on the episode synopsis for future episodes where Calvin's dating. So I just feel like at the end of the day, if Calvin does move back in with his parents, I think that's lazy writing. That's a bad way to depict Calvin when he's, going through a lot, but he seems to have matured. I mean, even Miranda points out how Calvin is everything she wanted him to be while they were married, and he's not like that. Well, he's like that now. Well, he doesn't want her. So I feel like we'll just have to wait and find out. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How would you feel if Calvin moved back in with his family? And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month.